Hey everybody, Jem Schofield of the C47 and another episode of Gearbox 2.0. In this episode, I'm going to give you some of my thoughts on this whole thing that's happening with categories being excluded from the televised portion of the Oscars or Academy Awards. So let's get started. Okay kids, it is February 12th, 2019, and I have to say I am in a little bit of a funk over this whole subject matter. I'm probably going to be demonetized for saying funk because the Google/YouTube bots may think I'm saying something else, but I am, because something has happened there was some chatter about this, but something's happened over the last couple of days officially regarding the categories that will be televised for the Academy Awards. And it is just pretty unbelievable. Now, I was going to do an episode on the firmware update for the X-T3, which removes the 4GB limit when you are recording video to cards that are now at least 64 gigs or higher. And that's fantastic. We get rid of that exFAT garbage, and when we're bringing the clips into post, if we want to apply, let's say, an audio filter and we want to do a crossfade, we can now do that. You couldn't before. It was a real pain, and so that's great. Well, I guess I kind of did just talk about the firmware update, but it wasn't really something I wanted to put my entire focus on for the episode, because what the Academy has done, whomever that is, that doesn't understand that filmmaking for some reason is the most collaborative art form that's out there in terms of different art forms coming together to create a whole, has decided that in order to make time for their new format for the Academy Awards without a host, which should allow them to make their time already, because they can just plan for and do a live edit of that show and keep it to, from my understanding, a 3-hour limit, have decided, at least for the time being, to exclude 4 categories from the televised portion of the show. Now, if you haven't heard about this, the 4 televised categories are, at least this year, and then it's supposed to be different every year. Number 1 is makeup and hairstyling. Number 2 is live action short. Number 3 is film editing. And number 4 is cinematography. Now, all of those are horrible. None of them should be excluded. And I'm still trying to wrap my head around how this could possibly be, that they can't figure out a way to make their time for this show that celebrates the craft of filmmaking and exclude 2, I'm not saying the other categories are not important, but 2 of the primary categories of craft that have to do with making films. Of course, those are film editing and cinematography. When we think about the production triangle, we have a director, we have production design, and we have cinematography. And of course, under production design and cinematography, we have all of those departments that have everything to do with putting the pieces together for the filmed or the photographed portion of a movie. And then it gets to that last stage. Well, it's not really the last stage, but it gets to that ever so important stage where a film can be remade, which is film editing. And of course, there's a lot of other things that are happening in post, and those should be acknowledged as well. But to exclude 2 of the key categories that make up what we think of when we see a feature film is just unbelievable to me. The ASC has spoken out in protest, which I'm very happy that they did today. And there is a lot of chatter online about this. Now, I'm hoping, well, I'm not hopeful that this is going to change anything for the televised portion of the Academy Awards, the Oscars this year. And I'm going to do something else when it's going on, because I'm pretty disgusted about this. What I am hoping is that collectively, lots of voices are going to wake up the Academy to look at format a little bit more closely, to make sure that they are acknowledging the people within the industry, the peers in the industry that are responsible for what is storytelling in a feature film format. So I don't know what to say other than that. I would just love everybody to shout loudly and have their voice heard, and hashtag, you know, the Academy and anything else that relates to this supposed body of people that make these very strange and I think damaging decisions to something that for 91 years has been revered. Yes, lots of mistakes and people who should have been acknowledged, not acknowledged, and you know, this is an ongoing process. But if we continue to speak about things like this, then that's what will result in change. And to think that a film editor or a cinematographer would not be publicly acknowledged for the work that they've done. And that's it. I'm back to my funk with this whole thing. So next week, I promise, new piece of gear to show you guys. And I'll see you guys next time on Gearbox.